Here are 3 busted champs to rank up for every role in solo queue, with a couple of duos thrown in for good measure. Starting off with Karma. While most of us acknowledge Karma as a support champion, she has found her way to mid with the recent item changes. Malignance being one of the best items ever invented for her, alongside the option of being able to build like a mage or a support, means she can fill multiple roles depending on your team's needs. So, why is Karma mid so good? For starters, Karma has always been known for his strong burst level 1 with Mantra Q. This alone allows you to take complete control of the mid lane from level 1, as you can easily walk behind the enemy's caster minions and zone them off with the threat of using Mantra Q. This threat can then allow you to get free priority in lane, allowing you to push the first 2 or 3 waves and then play with your jungler. Yes, while Karma did find her way to mid, that does not mean she has lost her supportive playstyle. Rather than being in the support role and supporting the AD carry, you will be mid lane supporting the jungler with your mid prio. For the build, I like to start at Doran's Ring and 2 pots, and on my first base I usually aim to get a lost chapter. This component will obviously be turning into Malignance, and we will finish our core build with Boots of Lucidity for the bonus ability Haste. From here, I recommend building Staff of Flowing Water, as it helps a lot with buffing our team, and it has some good stats on it too. And after this 3 core build, you can build just about anything you want. And now that Karma is out of the way, we can move on to the best part of this video. At GameLeap.com, we have hundreds upon hundreds of video guides, all authored by our Challenger coaching team. We're talking champion guides and courses for every role. So, if you want to instantly up your game, click the link at the top of the description box below right now and start learning directly from the pros. Alright, now time for some more skillful champs. Our next 2 mid laners require a lot more mechanical prowess and are not for the faint of heart. Starting off with Ahri. Yes, I know you guys are rolling your eyes because you think just because Ahri has a couple of auto-lock abilities that she's a brain-dead champ. Well, let me tell you why you're wrong. Ahri's strengths rely on your ability to hit charm, as that is the only way to land her full combo. Early lane phase is pretty easy to get the hang of. Level 1 you take W and auto W auto to proc electrocute for a decent chunk of damage. However, because you are taking an ability that is single target, you need to be constantly autoing the minion wave when you aren't trading to maintain the mid push. Keeping the mid wave even or pushing is crucial to being able to roam and land your charms, because of course it is extremely hard to land skill shots versus a stacked wave. Malignance plus Ultimate Hunter make Ahri's roam prowess so insanely strong, as the Ultimate CDR allows your ult to be on a 1-minute cooldown from rank 1. This is why she is so insanely good. The most consistent Ahri build we've seen is starting out with Doran's Ring and 2 pots. Your first base should either be for Lost Chapter or Boots of Lucidity, and you want to rush that Malignance. The mana, the ultimate CDR, everything about that item helps Ahri in so many ways. Up next, you want to build Lichbane. Yes, you had that right, Lichbane. This item is so OP after the rework, giving it CDR and such high burst, it is insane. Ahri is a spellweaver, so throwing in an auto in between abilities is crucial to maximizing your DPS. From here, you can either go Crypt Bloom for Magic Pen and CDR, Zhonya's, or any situational AP item. And finally, for the mid lane mechanical gods out there, we have Hui. Hui has been a disgusting champ since release, and the only reason he was weak upon release was because of the steep learning curve of all of his abilities. After a lot of playtesting and theory crafting, Hui now appears to be one of the most oppressive mid laners in the sense that he can completely negate lane phase. Hui's kit is designed for him to poke from afar and one-shot waves, thus leaving little to no room for enemies to kill him without a coordinated dive or a champion that closes massive distances. For builds, you will either be going into Luden's Companion for burst and lane dominance, or Seraph's to skill versus heavy dive. Following that up, you will be going Horizon Focus, because all of your abilities are skill shots and you play from the range that activates Horizon's passive. From there, you want to build either Liandry's for more DPS, or you can go down the higher burst route with Crypt Bloom, and then you can build situationally just like any other mage. For early game, you want to find angles to use QQ, as the Fireball early game does a ton of damage and slowly gets outscaled later into the game, so use it while its strength is at its peak. To clear waves, use QE to make space and burn down the wave. Don't forget to use WE to replenish mana while harassing and clearing the wave. And remember that the whole purpose of this champion is to one-shot waves and harass enemies from afar until you scale and can one-shot them off of their own screen. Hui is picked a lot in high elo because of this safety, alongside abusing the fact that some players still just don't read what this champion does. Moving into the top lane, for those of you in the ranks anywhere from Iron to Gold, we would have to recommend Darius. Darius has been a powerhouse of a champion since his release, and has only gotten stronger since the day of his rework, if you've been around that long. With Stridebreaker getting buffed, tanks being meta, and objective fights being so important, this is the perfect meta for Darius players to show up. A quick tip for Darius players is that during level 1 in almost any matchup, you can hide in the top lane river bush or the tier 3 lane bush and deny your opponent XP. Once the melee minions reach about half HP, if your opponent hasn't shown up, then walk behind the enemy caster creeps and assert your dominance. If anyone dares to challenge you level 1, then by all means ghost right at them with W leveled and take them down. Your core build revolves around a defensive boot of your choice, Stridebreaker and Sundered Sky. For those of you in mid elo, so anywhere from plat to diamond, I recommend Aatrox. This champ has been nasty for the past 6 months, and anyone who watched Worlds last year knows the insane strength this champion boasts. With bruiser items such as Profane Hydra, Sundered Sky and Spear of Shojin being such insane items, it is not a question as to why this champion can easily take over a game with just a little bit of top lane matchup knowledge and mechanical skill. We shan't spend too long on Aatrox. The guy is kind of just Riven but easier, and for the build, rush a tier 2 defensive boot, grab Profane Hydra into Sundered Sky for mental damage and healing. Now, if you are high elo and your rank is either approaching Masters or beyond, then Cassante should be in your champion pool if he wasn't there already. Let's be real, boys. Tank items are kinda broken. 2400 for Frozen Heart, 2900 for Koenig, and this champion Cassante is still picking up buffs. With only about 2 or 3 hard losing matchups, a good Cassante player can easily scale through the laning phase and hit the point where you outperform almost every top laner in post level 6 skirmishes. The hardest part about playing Cassante is honestly having the patience for items. With your core 3 items being so cheap, you see way too many Cassantes take flippy fights and then they throw away their chance at an advantage. Cassante's build starts off with either Steel Caps or Merc Treads into Iceborne Gauntlet. From there, either get Frozen Heart against AD or Koenig versus AP, and next, finish up whichever item between the heart and the Koenig that you didn't build first. And that brings us on to jungle, where Nocturne has been a nuts pick in Season 14 with the introduction of Experimental Hexplate. Low elo junglers should one-trick this champion, and Nocturne has always been a solo queue menace. He's quick at clearing, good at early skirmishing, and once you hit level 6, can turn the lights off just to revel at the panic among your enemies. The most consistent way to make Nocturne work is to simply do a full clear to the side lane that has prio, and at the end of the full clear, see if there is a good gank opportunity. If not, then go reset and full clear again for level 6. From there, just run to a lane you think is punishable and ulti in, nice and simple. The build is also very straightforward. Red Smite, Experimental Hexplate, and Eclipse. Your boot of choice can either be defensive boots or boots of lucidity. For mid-elo, we've got to go with Viego. It's a bit of a trend in a lot of Plat and Emerald games to have a lot of random fighting and ego checking. Viego thrives off of third-partying these fights, and with just a simple 1 or 2 kill lead, you can begin to take over the mid-game with your resets. The biggest mistake I see Viego players make is they try too hard to solo kill and solo invade to press a lead, when your champion would really rather be working alongside a teammate, bursting somebody down, and then using that body to chain into another kill. Having a duo who mains a CC-based champ is one of the best Viego combos to set up resets and engages. Viego likes fighting, so Red Smite alongside Kraken Slayer, Sundered Sky, and Boots is a solid 3-core build. Okay, moving on to a champion that, if put in the right hands, can single-handedly carry even challenger games, Bel'Veth. Bel'Veth has always been a super strong early and mid-game fighter, and with items such as Kraken Slayer and Stridebreaker being so strong again, she can take over games before anyone even reaches a third item. Your ideal path will be to start at Raptors, go into Krugs, into Red, and then look for either an invade or a gank. Tempo, tempo, tempo is the name of the game for this champ. You can never let off the gas pedal once you hit level 6. Whenever you get your form, you had better floor that engine. Use this champion to take early fights and stack up early objectives, because the later the game goes, Bel'Veth gets weaker. But up until around 25 minutes, you can pretty much roll through the entire enemy team solo. As stated before, go Blue Smite with Kraken into Stridebreaker for max carry potential as Bel'Veth. For ADC, we think the best low elo champion right now is actually Tristana. A lot of players are still stuck thinking that Varus and Smolder are super insane champs right now, and they are, but these S tier champs have their weaknesses, and one of them is just getting hard forced on. Tristana is really good at taking early all-in fights, allowing you to take over lanes with an engaged support. Your build with Kraken Slayer into Navori means every item completion turns into into a power spike. Keep in mind, you must pair Tristana up with an engaged support for the easiest possible time. So if you see an enchanter already being hovered or, God forbid, already locked in, Trist can still work, but you will have to pick your fights better, and the margin for error gets small real quick at higher elos. The build is going to be Kraken Slayer, Berserker Greaves, and Navori for a solid all-around spike. Now, a solid mid-elo ADC would definitely have to be Varus. This champion is the best blind pick in the game because you can either go lethality against squishy teams, on hit versus tanky teams, or even AP if your team is missing that damage type. With a solid lane phase due to your abilities having such high base damage, you can easily push the early and mid game into your favor and be finishing games with the right macro decisions by the 25-minute mark. For lethality Varus, build Yomu's, then Manamune into Opportunity, boot choice being CDR. For on-hit Varus, rush Blade of the Rune King, Gwinsu's into Terminus, with boot choice being Berserker Greaves, and for AP Varus, rush Nashor's into Lichbane, and wrap it up with Shadow Flame. For boots, that would be Sork Shoes. For a high elo ADC player, we've got to recommend Seraphine. For those of us who have played versus Seraphine, you know how annoying it is to have the lane perma-stalled, and before you know it, the Seraphine is outscaling you in both damage and utility while building support items. It is actually a joke how broken this champion is in bot lane. A good Seraphine can even bully a challenger Draven out of the game through just wave clearing and baiting the patience out of ADHD Draven mains. Your build will be Seraphs into Staff of Flowing Water, and then branch off into either more AP or more support depending on your playstyle. Just make sure to grab Lucidity boots along the way. Now for support, we've got to kick things off with Nautilus. Please, for the love of God, if you haven't already, put this champion in your pool. Being able to instantly win lane from a single hook that is almost impossible to miss is insane, especially at lower elos. You're also now given items that make you extremely tanky through Frozen Heart and Kaenic Rukern, and you can also build Barmy Cinder if you want to solo kill those ADCs. Turn your support item into Solstice Slayer, and then rush defensive boots. Your core items include Frozen Heart and Kaenic. For mid-elo support, we've got to recommend Karma. Oh yes, she's making her second appearance. A lot of games between Platinum and Emerald are decided by which champion can take the lead and run with it, and Karma going full AP can win lane from landing the first Mantra Q to half HPing a carry mid-game due to the passive of Zac and Malignance on your Mantra Q. You can win any lane with any ADC because Karma was designed to 2v1 in lane, and if you were given a good ADC, then yeah, just take the free LP and move on. The build is very simple. Rush Malignance and CDR boots, then grab Staff of Flowing Water, and the game should be over before item 3. Your support item should also be Zac. The high elo support champ pool varies between so many options, but one stands out above the rest. Janna is the Apex support that has risen to power, with her W pairing so well with Zac and Imperial Mandate that one W auto Q can deal 1/3 of an ADC's HP, and there just isn't that much counterplay. You have enough bonus move speed to dodge hooks, you are known for countering engaged champions with Q and R, and you can block other enchanter and mage support damage with E. A good Janna will always find high value in her abilities, and in doing so means that you can easily rack up kills and assists. We have even seen the best Janna mains rush Darkseal and Magi's, and the AP they have at mid at 10 is disgusting. Use this champion to farm that free LP. For builds, quickly stack up your support item into Zac and then rush Imperial Mandate. From here, honestly buy a Darkseal or Magi's and laugh as you burn half of a Squishy's HP down as a support. And alright, that is going to be all for now, but remember to hit the link at the top of the description box right now to unlock access to a ton of pro player guides on GameLeap.com, and I'll catch you all next time.